Peace and blessings, family. This is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Shareef Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share the channel so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. As always, in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I live to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for the Metu Netter, oracles, scriptures, and writings that came on the continent of Africa thousands of years before any organized religion. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. I greet everyone in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Muslim family, Assalamu alaikum. To my Hebrew Israelite family, Shalom. To my Black conscious family, Hotep. And to my people in the streets, what's good with you? It all means peace. So once again, this is Brother Shareef with the Hour of Power. Subscribe and share the channel so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. So tonight we will briefly discuss we must protect our children by any means necessary, part 2. We must protect our children by any means necessary, part 2. The other night we received some disturbing news via YDR, which is the York Dispatch, that a youth, a female, 13 years old at Ferguson School, which is a city school here in York, Pennsylvania, K through 8, a 13-year-old female was being sexually assaulted by a York City employee, an employee who's supposed to be a teacher's aide in a life skills class. That still boggles my mind. And he was supposedly having sexual relations with a 13-year-old female child. And just to warn you, viewer discretion is advised in this message. Viewer discretion is advised. A 36-year-old male employee at Ferguson School, a teacher's aide in a life skills class, supposedly having sexual relations with a 13-year-old female student from about the timeline of September the 1st all the way up to through December the 1st. He was having sexual relations with a 13-year-old female student, a child. This was reported in YDR. The young lady supposedly gave testimony to this. I don't know how it came about that whoever found out about it, but it got out there somehow. And then this nut, this John LaRue, basically admitted to sending text messages, inappropriate text messages, to this young lady, and being alone with her several times and rubbing on her genitalia, but never admitted to having sexual relations and oral sex with her, as reported in the police report, and as this young lady testified to, not testified, but that was her account of what happened. So a lot of people are disturbed by this news, as they should, but I don't want it to just be another story and then it be swept under the rug. These are our children. At least that's the way I look at it. They're our future, and it could be our child, our niece, our nephew, our grandchild. So the point I want to get across tonight, because we already went over the gory details and the disturbing details the other night when this story hit. But again, I don't want it to be swept under the rug. I don't know what the school is planning to do moving forward, meaning Ferguson, because that's where it happened. I don't know what other schools in the district, if any, what they're going to do to bring awareness on this serious problem. I had a sister all the way from Tampa, Florida, inbox me, I believe it was last night, and she said at the school I believe that she works at, 3 employees at a school got in trouble just recently for the same thing at a school in Tampa, Florida, with underage children and adults working at this school sexually assaulting and having inappropriate relationships with children. This is in Tampa, Florida. A sister just inboxed me and said she saw my message the other night. And if you're bold enough, please share that message. I know it was a little vulgar, but it's the truth. So if you're bold enough, share that message the other night and certainly subscribe to the Hour of Power, which I believe gives unadulterated truth that we can prove with no limit or time. So just some questions, not being accusatory with this message, because we want to bring awareness, because we know this is a serious issue. My thing is, September the 1st is when the police report says, and the young lady says, that this started happening, all the way up through December the 1st. Well, again, I'm a counselor and a therapist in the school system. I know for a fact that school started around August 27th or 28th here in York. How was he around September the 1st already having sexual relations with this 13-year-old child in school just started 2-3 days prior? So some of the viewers from the last message said that he worked at summer programs. So we may never know all the details of what's going on, but since they put it out there, and since our children are in the school, I believe some of these things need to be looked at. How did he get access to this girl and start having full-blown sex with her September the 1st when school just started 3-4 days prior? That tells me that maybe, because we don't know the details, but since it's public information, we're not gossiping, maybe he had already had access to her, what, at a summer program? Is that it? How did that happen? Second, this is where the village mentality comes in, and the message that the Hour of Power has been pushing since we've been putting messages out there. All this goes back to the family. We can't control the sick thoughts that some individuals have, but there are some things that we can do to prevent certain things that go on in the community, in particularly schools, and that's having a strong foundation at home. And if the strong foundation at home isn't there, that's where the village comes in. How was this 13-year-old child able to go to this grown man's house? How was this 13-year-old child able to go to this grown man's house several times? Even she admits that she was there several times. Even this nut, this John LaRue, admits that he was alone with her several times. He admits this in his own testimony. And if you read the article with YDR, he admits he was alone with her several times. Well, obviously he wasn't alone with her during school hours, so it had to have been after school. How is a 13-year-old child with a grown man after school? This is where the family comes in. This is where the father, if he's present, comes in. And this is where we need to know what's going on with our children. I have no idea who this young lady is. I don't know her family dynamics. And again, I want to reiterate the point that I made the other night. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. So we're not blaming this on her. She is a child. And I'm not being judgmental towards her family because I don't know her family dynamics. But the question has to be asked. The question has to be asked. How is a 13-year-old child able to go to a grown man's house several times? And do we? Okay, Sister Russie said he has children of his own. Wow. That's see, more and more is coming out. But this is where the village comes in. Now, this young lady, I don't know if she's in a single family home. I don't know if she has both parents. Maybe they were. And maybe they told her, when you come home, you are to go to your auntie's house, your grandmom's house, you to do your homework. I don't know. But I do know a 13-year-old, you should know where they are. And this is where that strong foundation at home comes in. Whether you're in a single family home or not, you should know where your children are. In the police report, Sister Samantha said, no, he's the only one at fault. Sick and disturbing mind. Yes, he's the only one at fault. This is where parenting comes in. In the police report, it says that he admitted to sending her, and I'm going to try to behave in this message, but you know how I can be. But I do not apologize for speaking truth. But I'm going to try to be nice because I know that last message was a little rough and vulgar, but it is what it is. Anyway, in the police report, he admits to sending her several inappropriate text messages, which tells me that she had a working cell phone. So for parents who are working, they have GPS apps on the phone. They have GPS apps on the phone. Yes, Sister Russie, I apologize for that last message. I'm going to try to behave myself tonight. They have GPS apps on phones where if your child, they don't pay for the phone. You pay for the phone. They have GPS apps where you can know where your child is. So it's all kind of technology out here. This is where the village mentality comes in. And I got several reports that this John LaRue, this employee at Ferguson School, was very flirtatious with the girls. Very flirtatious with the girls, and a lot of the girls liked him. This is very disturbing information, and this is where the village mentality comes in. So if he was very flirtatious with the girls, and it's several employees at this school, you mean to tell me that no other employee noticed him being flirtatious with underage girls? Come on now. You mean to tell me no other employee at Ferguson, we calling it out now because this is public information and this is our children. You mean to tell me no other employee noticed him being flirtatious with underage girls, and children have noticed him being flirtatious to and with other girls? This is our duty. So it's a quote in the Bible but it's Philippians 2 verse 4. You can look it up. I'm just preaching now. Philippians 2 verse 4 says, don't be only concerned with your interests, but be concerned with the interests of others. Yeah, you can look it up. It's in Philippians 2, chapter 2, verse 4. It says, don't only be concerned with your interests, but be concerned with the interests of others. with the interests of others. So do we truly believe in it takes a village to raise a child? I'm going to say it for the third time. You mean to tell me that no other employee, children, this is not children's responsibility to report that an adult and employee who's supposed to be nurturing and protecting them, this isn't another child's responsibility to report inappropriate or what's perceived as inappropriate activity between an adult and children. No other employee noticed this? No one else noticed it. That's very hard to believe, especially as nosy and petty as employees at schools can be. I work in schools all the time. I've worked in schools in North Carolina. I used to work alongside the nurse. I used to communicate with the school counselor, and it would be a buzz going around that something was going on with Brother Shareef and the school counselor, because I was always talking with her. I'm just giving you an example. This sister was almost old enough to be my mother. But that was the buzz. Just to give you an example, people are watching. Matter of fact, some people in these work environments watch too much. Overly suspicious. Yeah, the buzz was going around. Man, Mr. Shareef, he's always in Miss So-and-so's office. So people notice what's going on. People notice what's going on. So do we really have that it takes a village to raise a child mentality until, like Sister Russie said, until it's one of your own? Almost reminds me of the movie Get Out. See, it was a lot of subliminal messages in that movie. I'm talking about the movie Get Out that came out last year. Do you remember the scene with Chris? I think that was the star of the show. His name was. He was in the backyard. Are y'all following me? I'm talking about the movie Get Out now, and not speaking up when you know someone is in danger. I'm trying to make a connection here. Give me a black fist sign or a heart emoji if you're following what I'm saying. Now I'm referencing the movie Get Out and the importance of not speaking up when it don't concern you, because you may ruffle some feathers. In the movie Get Out, Chris was in the backyard, and the night before, the one they referred to as Grandpa kind of scared him a little bit. He was running around or something. And Chris said to him, I never introduced myself to you before. I just wanted to talk to you. And they were in the backyard. But the night before, this demon had hypnotized him, put him in what she called a sunken place. And Grandpa talked about that. And Grandpa knew that the house that he was at, that they were setting him up for the kill. He knew because he was a victim himself. But he knew, he had knowledge that they were getting ready to set Chris up for the kill. He gave him no warning. And he said, well, and Chris said, yeah, something happened to me last night. I must have had too much to drink or something, and I just don't remember. Instead of him having some testicular fortitude and warning him that he was getting ready to be set up for the kill, he said, well, I might as well get on back to work now and mind my own business. Do you see the subliminal message in that? That's what he said. Never said a word. He said, let me get on back to work now and mind my own business. Knowing this brother was getting ready to be set up for the kill, literally. Well, we got a lot of people like that, not just in the school system, but in the work environment, because they don't want to mess up their position, because they don't want to ruffle any feathers, or because someone they know is doing something that can hurt another human being, and particularly a child, but because they got a personal relationship, or like Sister Russie said, because it's not one of their own, I'll just get on back to my business now, get on back to work now, and mind my own business. Never mind what Philippians 2 verse 4 says. Don't just be interested in your own concerns, but in the concerns of others. That's what it says in the Bible, telling us it is a duty. God ain't saying that just because it sounds good. Every word in Scripture, whether you believe it or not, it is a call to action. It says don't just be concerned with your own interests, but with the interests of others. You're not going to convince me no one didn't see this man texting or flirting with girls, underage girls. We have to train our children and give them confidence in themselves, and talk to them. And the village has to be a village in the absence. That's why the community was so strong. He may have worked the summer program, which is the extended school year. September 1st was, and I can't see the rest. I think Brother Jermaine was texting me. I didn't ignore your text, Brother Jermaine, but it came across so fast, and I don't want to interrupt the feed. So Sister Russie said he may have worked in the summer program. And like I said in the first message, I was actually at Ferguson with my job in the summer program, but I don't remember seeing this person, if we can give him that much. I don't remember seeing him. So I'm just going off the police report. The young lady supposedly testified that the inappropriate sexual relationship started around September 1st, which means he was setting her up for the kill, probably before then. But I'm just saying, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but it's just hard to believe if children noticed inappropriate activity with him and other girls and saying he was real flirtatious. You can't convince me that adults didn't notice it. Samantha says, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And he preyed on her. Yes, there were current students texting previous students saying they all knew something looked weird about him. Okay. So, and again, I referenced this book. Please get this book if you can. I've referenced it in many of my talks, Violence in the Lives of Black Women. This is very traumatic because I hope this girl is getting counseling. What about her friends? She probably shared it with someone. So what is the psychological effect that this had on her friends? Things are a rippling effect. Any action has a reaction and a consequence, good or bad. And often consequences affect other people. Just like the violence in our city. It just don't affect the person who the pain was inflicted on. It affects the mother, the father, the family, the friends, and the community. This is violence. Why do you think this book is named this? Violence. She ain't just talking about domestic abuse and physical abuse of women. She's talking about the psychological damage that sexual abuse does to our girls. And it's in here that many black women have been sexually abused as early as 8 years old. By fingering, fondling, anal, oral sex, the whole nine. Excuse my language. I know some youth are watching. I'm trying to keep it clean. But I gotta keep it straight at the same time. Many black women have been violated and haven't gotten any. Has this happened to this girl before? Has she shared this with her friends? Do they think it's normal for a grown man to be having sexual relations with a girl? And do they want to try it now? And how many other victims? Again, we talked about this. I don't believe this is the first time that this nut has done this. You're not going to convince, whenever it started, whether it was the summer program or whenever. I do not believe this was the first time he's done this. And what about her friends? Is the school getting her counseling? This is very disturbing. And I hope not just that school, but other schools in the county are doing something to, hell, I'll come to the school. It ain't about me. I'll come to the school for free to give any information or encouragement to our students to prevent this. I'll do it for free. But as long as it gets done, that's what's important. What's the psychological effect of this? Who else knows? What other victims are out there? Again, a sister all the way from Tampa just inboxed me and said the same thing happened at her school, and it was 3 employees sexually assaulting girls. Sexually assaulting girls. But I don't want to put a dark cloud over all this. I want something, Mr. Kennedy said, I work at Ferguson and I can only speak for myself personally. At the end of the day, let me see if I can get more. At the end of the day, he has to pay for his sins, and it's a lot of issues going on at that school, and I'm focusing on progressing our children, not on that man that is mentally ill. Okay. Well, that's what I was getting ready to talk about. I don't want to put a total dark cloud over this. We have to trust someone, okay? It's just a matter of who we trust and who deserves to be trusted. I remember Stone Cold Steve Austin. Remember the wrestler Stone Cold Steve Austin? He used to walk to the ring and he said, trust no one. I don't like that. It isn't the way God intended to put human beings on this earth. Trust no one? Well, how are you going to get through life trusting no one? No, it's called discernment. It's called discernment and wisdom, which we are responsible for instilling in our children. I talked about, we just don't talk on this channel. We give solutions. Mothers, watch who you, we're doing a little review now. Mothers, watch who you bring into the lives of your children. Meaning your boyfriends, stepfathers, uncles, aunts, whoever. Watch, check them all. This is how this is happening according to this book. It says because of family and marital dynamics in the black community, stepfathers and boyfriends are molesting these boys and girls. Check out who you are bringing around your children. Equip your children with knowledge and let them know that they are valuable. So if a girl has a father in their life, not their dad, a father, it's a difference between a father and a dad. A dad is a sperm donor. Plain and simple. He's a sperm donor. But a father is someone like our good brother who we just lost, may he rest in peace, Brother Ahmed, aka Claire Sexton. Someone who can take you further in life, educationally, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. That's a father. If you got a father in your life, when a man, especially a silly man, hey, give me a clap. I'm doing good tonight. I haven't cursed. Give your brother a black fist sign or a heart emoji or something. When you have a father in your life, he can take you further mentally, emotionally, spiritually, educationally. So when a young lady is in school or whatever, or even our grown sisters, and a man starts kicking this silly game, hey baby, you look good, I love you, all this and that. If she has a father in her life, automatically she's going to say, well, my father told me he loved me, so what kind of love are you talking about? Because my father told me he loved me, and that don't sound like the same love that you're talking about. So what is it that you're talking about? And she's going to be able to automatically distinguish the foolishness from real love. That is the importance of a father. So brothers, if You got children and it don't work out with the mom. Okay, that's your choice. But you don't divorce the children. You don't divorce the children. You got, and it's your responsibility to be there for them. Now, you got to trust someone. Let me tell you about some people that works in the school system from my own personal observation, and you are more than welcome to send in people, names of people who are being true fathers, mothers, mentors, and shining examples of those who are protecting our children. This dude is a nut, and it's a lot of them out there, but it's not everyone. We got plenty of people in schools who are providing a great example for our children when a lot of them don't have this. Let me tell you about some. And this is just my own personal observation. My good brother Jermaine Bailey, who works at, in no particular order, I don't script these talks. I just speak from the heart. My good brother Jermaine Bailey that works at McKinley, working with children that got challenges. This is a great young man and a brother. I know he is protecting these children from my own observation. How about Sister Chrissy Washington, who also works at McKinley with young men and females who have challenges, going above and beyond to give them protection and the guidance that they need. My sister Russie, who works at McKinley, but I think now she's at Jackson, giving guidance to these young ladies and young men and discipline, going above and beyond. If I had children at those schools, I would trust my children with Brother Jermaine, Sister Chrissy, and Sister Russie. Hands down. It ain't all bad. You gotta trust someone. Don't listen to Stone Cold. Trust no one. That ain't the way God designed this. Let's move over to good school. How about my brother James Way? Coach Way, as we call him. Not just in the community with the football players. This brother is doing great work. Great work with the students there at good school. Being a father to them children, giving them discipline. How about our brother, Mr. Percy Powell, at good school, giving them discipline and love all at the same time. Discipline and love all at the same time. How about my brother Proc? How about my brother Proc at Jackson? Uncle Proc, as they call him. I would trust my child with him. Yes, that we do. We love these students and treat them as our own. You certainly do. You certainly do. I would trust my children with Sister Chrissy, Brother Jermaine, Sister Russie, Uncle Proc, James Way, Percy, Mr. Percy Powell over there at good school, Yvette Torres at the front desk there at Jackson, Sister Russie. What's the Latino brother's name at? I just saw him on, I'm so used to calling him Poppy. What's the brother's name who be having them straight at Jackson? And he told me on Friday he's now going to York High. I said, no, Poppy, we need you to stay. And he said, no, Sister Russie got it. Yes, Eva at, I believe that's it. Is that a good school? Sister Liz at good school with Brother Percy and James. Jose, is it Jose? Yes, that is a wonderful brother. He keeps them brothers straight. Sir Walter, I was getting ready to say Sir Walter. I don't bump into him as much. He is a wonderful brother. Sister Alicia said Troy Rice. I hope to get to meet him. Yes. Jess Neves. Yes. Yes, she's at good school. I believe she invited me there. I hope to hear from her this week about coming to speak to the youth there at Good School. So we ain't going to put no total dark cloud. These are the people that we need to lean on and introduce our children so we can have more eyes on them. They can't be everywhere, but it's always good to have more eyes on our children in our absence. That's what the village is about. Troy Rice teaches at Ferguson. Okay, right now, I don't have any clients at Ferguson. Sister Eva is at Hannah Penn. Sister Alicia said we need to get them on our show. We're going to try to get our bigger studio. It's a little more work with that, but we're going to make it in 2019. All those people I mentioned, if they okay with it, I want to bring on a panel discussion. I want to get our youth involved so they can talk about what concerns them. But again, these are the people who we can trust, that I've seen with my own eyes, who I've worked with my own eyes and seen them go above and beyond to look out for these children. A lot of these children just don't have a lot of things. They just don't have a lot of things. And I've personally seen these people, Sister Chrissy, Brother Jermaine. Brother Jermaine works at the football game. Someone might say, oh, that's a football game. But he's being visible again. These children know they can depend on him. Sister Russie and Sister Chrissy and Brother Way and Proc and Brother Percy. And that's what's missing at home. Some parents are being too friendly with their children. I see a Brother Percy with the discipline and the love at the same time. That's what a parent is supposed to be. You ain't supposed to be friends with your children. That's what their peers are for. I'll tell my children quick, I am not your friend. I'm your parent. But these are the things, the beautiful acts that I see. So we ain't going to put no dark cloud over this and let this nut convolute our mind where we don't trust anyone. In the Quran, it says being overly suspicious is a sin. So we got to balance it out. We had to talk about this. It was in the news. It is very disturbing that an employee at a school was able to have access to one of our girls and we don't know what happened and what's going on with this girl. We had to talk about it. And our power isn't scared. We bring truth. We bring references. I'm not out to make any friends. I'm just here to speak the truth. We had to talk about it, but there's a balance to everything. So I had to speak on those, and I'm glad people started inboxing other people's names because I don't know everyone. I just went off of my own observation. And those individuals that I mentioned, I've seen it for myself. I've seen it for myself, the great work that they have done and that they are doing. And there's no such thing as trust no one. That isn't the way God designed this. Trust no one. And people have been let down so much that a lot of us actually believe that. I don't trust no one. Well, that's not going to work. What if you get in a car accident or something and someone comes to help you? You're going to say, I don't trust you? Or are you going to let them pull you out of that burning flame? Huh? Percy Powell is a great role model for my son, and we appreciate him very much. Quinn Johnson and Michael Muldrow stand up, very active with my child. Yeah, thank you for mentioning their names. So again, finishing out, those are things that we can do to prevent sexual abuse, not just in the school system. And I know this made some people feel uncomfortable. Some people said, I work, at Ferguson. No one is blaming Ferguson because once again, in the police report, it said that he had no prior convictions, no criminal record. You can't work in the school system and have child abuse and sexual abuse charges. So they did their due diligence with that. Me being a therapist and going to so many different schools, I have to carry my clearances with me every day, everywhere I go. So he was just an undercover, you know what. He's just undercover. But at the same time, like the analogy I gave with Grandpa and Get Out, Grandpa knew that they were setting this man up for the kill. He knew it. But for whatever reason, just a lack of faith and a lack of heart, he let that man be set up for the kill and Get Out. He said, I'm going to just mind my business now. Get on back to work and mind my business. AKA, I'm going to turn a blind eye. I know what's going on, but I ain't getting involved in this. Too much of that going around. I just don't believe that no other adult didn't see this inappropriate activity going on. He most likely met this girl. He slid through the cracks for years, yes. And how many more of it is like that out there? I just don't believe that no one else didn't see this going on. For whatever reason, it didn't get reported. But we can prevent a lot of this. Watch what's going on at home. Be involved with your children. There's no such thing as your children's room. They don't have no room. They're just sleeping in there. Let me say that again. There's no such thing as your children's room. They don't have a room. They just sleep in there. You got every right to go in there, go through their things, check their phone, be in their conversations. Just the other day, my boy walked up to the door and he was talking to one of his friends outside and he said, I got you, I got you. And soon as he walked through the door, I said, you got what? Come to find out, he made some kind of bet with one of his friends and the friend pressuring him talking about now my son owes him something. I said, you don't owe him a darn thing. That ain't what I actually said. You know I can get raw. But we got children watching. I said, you don't owe him a darn thing. I was all up in his conversation. And I made him feel uncomfortable. Like, man, Dad all up in my conversation? You daggone right. You daggone right. I check his phone. Their phone. I got 2 boys here. All up in their business. So, this young girl, she might have been writing about this. She might have been texting about this. Because remember, it says from September, October, November, December. By the police report, this almost rape of this child was going on for 4 months that we know of. So you mean to tell me, whatever her home environment is, there was no evidence that she was having sexual relations with a grown man? No evidence, no text messages, no diaries, no notes, no phone conversations, nothing? Nothing? That's hard to believe. Be involved with your children. Get all up in their business. They don't have no business. They don't have no room. Wherever they lay their head, they just sleep in there. That's your room. Yeah. Yeah, be all up in their room, all up in their business. I bet you'll find something out. 4 months that we know of, he was having sexual relations with this girl. And you mean to tell me wherever this girl resides, she left no evidence that she was having sexual relations with a grown man? And how sick are you? Yeah, we need to hashtag that. All up in your business. Hashtag it. I just come up with stuff. Hashtag it. All up in your business. And then after that hashtag, because I love you. You always got to end out with love. Give them the rough stuff first, but always end out with love. All up in your business, because I love you. 36 years old, sir. I can't even imagine having sexual relationships with someone in their 20s. They're legal, according to the law. They're legal. You can't get in trouble for having sexual relations with someone in their 20s. But me trying to be a sane-minded man, I just can't imagine that. You want to know why? because I have friends that have daughters that's in their 20s. So that would be like me having sex with one of my friend's daughters. I get inboxes from young ladies sometimes because, I got a little TV show and, I've done some things in North Carolina and stuff. And I have to tell, I'm old enough to be your father. How can you get your mind to lay up with someone 13 years old? A child? How? Again, and that's a child. I can't imagine having sex with someone in their 20s, and they're legal. According to their law, after 18, they can't get you for statutory rape or anything like that. They're an adult, but I can't imagine it. I cannot imagine having sexual relations with someone in their 20s, even someone moving into their 30s. I just can't imagine it. How sick and depraved are you, sir, and others? You can think one thing, but to move on it and to actually do it, it's beyond sick and it's scary to know that we got men and women in this community sick enough to take advantage of a child. To take advantage of a child when there's women out here that you can do all that with. So those are the solutions. Hopefully we can bring some of these people who are protecting our children on Our Power in 2019. Share this message. This is the cleaner one, but I believe part 1 was the real deal. Sometimes we just got to bring it raw. And our book tells us that. Speak to the people in the language of the people so they may understand. That's the way we do it on the Our Power. Sisters, check out who you bring around your children. Not just in the school system. The school is not responsible for who you bring into the house. They're not responsible. This could have happened to this girl before. This could have happened to her before. Watch who you bring around your children. Your children are depending on you for protection. You bring some knucklehead in and don't even check him out. And like I talked about before, and I'll be done. I know I said that about 15 minutes ago, but this is so important. What is your intentions with me? And check him out. It costs about $25 to get someone's police report or their criminal record if they have one. It's public information. You could save yourself and your children a lifelong headache and trouble and trauma. You may even save their life. You don't know who some of these men are. These women do not know who some of these men are that they're bringing into their house. Even if you don't got any children, for your own protection, check these men out. Ask around the community. If he's some cat from out of town, you really better check him out. Because at least in York, everyone knows everyone for the most part. But we got a lot of transplants coming into York. A lot of people that ain't from here. From Philly, New York, Baltimore, wherever. Check them out. You just can't bring anyone around your children. Especially if you got girls. Some of these girls more developed than the mother. And you got a man with a sick mind. A man with a sane mind has to be careful around girls. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that the mothers should handle the girls, even if that's your biological daughter. That's what he told us. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that mothers should take care of the caretaking of the daughters, and the dad should kind of stay out of that, meaning giving her baths and different things like that. He said, really, the father should stay out of that. I know it may sound a little foreign, but think about it. How many girls have been molested by their own father and grandfather? So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, men, just stay out of that. Let the mother handle that. That don't mean you don't love them and can't give them a hug. But he's trying to prevent trouble and keep our minds sane. These girls running around here looking like grown women. And that's for a sane-minded man. So can you imagine a sick man targeting these girls and these girls looking like grown women? So watch who you bring around your children. Check these men out. I'm going to my boys' school this week, unannounced. And I want to know everyone who comes in contact with them. The gym teacher, whoever. I know some of them, but I'm going to get to meet all of them. Check everyone out. Make your presence known so then they know, oh, he or she is involved. I better move my sick activity to someone else because they ain't playing. So thank you for those who are being true fathers and mothers and mentors to our children, which a lot of them don't have. Again, Brother Jermaine and Sister Chrissy and Russie, Brother James, Brother Percy, Proc, and all the others who they mentioned. Jose Neves, Troy Rice, Brother Jose, who is now at York High. But he said, Sister Russie, you got it. So he's turning it over to you. Thank you. You got to trust someone. You just can't think that everyone is evil. We just have to use discernment and take proper precautions to make sure our children are safe. This ain't the end of this. We can't let it be the end of this, meaning bringing awareness. I hope the schools do something. I hope they do something. I'm willing to do it for free. Now, I know I'm sort of a firecracker. They're like, oh, I don't know what this guy is going to say. But I'm willing to do it for free to bring awareness to our children and our youth about being aware of these sexual predators, and particularly our girls. But our boys ain't safe either. It doesn't make it any better if a grown woman is sexually taking advantage of a boy just because he's a boy. It psychologically damages him too. So you got a lot of Krugers running around. They want to get torn down by a big young brother. Got a lot of Krugers running around. They sick too. They need to be checked too. We need to protect our children. Please share this message if you're bold enough. Viewer discretion is advised. Give your brother a hand. I didn't curse. I didn't use any vulgar language, but it's all in love. I can back up everything I'm saying. It's just a little raw. That's all. But it's the truth. I'm just following what my book tells me. Speak to the people in the language of the people so we may understand. But I behaved myself tonight. I leave you in peace as I came. Assalamu alaikum.